Well, hello everybody out there and welcome to another minidisc related video. And I know that the title of this video is probably going to be a big shock for many of my subscribers, because I know that many people have subscribed to my channel because of my minidisc video, or mainly because of my minidisc videos. And yeah, to hear that I kind of want to get away from minidisc is probably like a shock for some of you. But I don't know if I'm going to completely stop using minidiscs, but I definitely don't want them to be the main way how I listen to music anymore, because there have been so many problems that just kept piling up that it kind of stopped being fun in a way. So let me just tell you about the problems and maybe you will understand. I have been using minidiscs almost daily for at least 20 years now. And the first problem is that I have this, I don't know if I should call it a disorder, but this habit of matching the look of the disc with whatever it is that I want to record. So for example, I would never be able to record something like Geography of Hell on an orange or blue mini disc, because it's just not right. And on the other hand, I would also never record something like Flight of the Conchords or Lost in Translation onto a black or gray mini disc. And the more music I have and the less mini discs I had, it started to get more and more difficult to match the look of the disc with whatever it is that I want to record. And right now I do have literally dozens of empty mini discs that I have basically no use for, because the stuff that I want to record doesn't really match the look of those discs. So yeah, that is already pretty annoying. Then another thing that is annoying is titling the disc and the tracks. I mean, I had the Sony MDS JE640 minidisc deck because it has a PS2 port. So it gave me the ability to use a keyboard to title my tracks. But then after, I think something like 2 years, the record head broke. So I managed to find another JE640 minidisc deck that somebody sold for spare parts or for repairs, and I replaced the record head and it worked fine. But 2 years later, or 1.5 years later, that record head also broke, or it started to malfunction. I don't know what it is about the record heads of the JE640 minidisc decks that they just keep breaking. And I also don't know why you can buy laser units or pickup units or whatever they are called on eBay, but you can't buy separate record heads. I don't know why that is a problem. So right now I don't have the ability to use a keyboard to title my tracks, which is pretty darn annoying. And I don't want to buy that weird remote control keyboard, because yeah, in my opinion it's just way too expensive. Then of course, labeling the discs and the cases is also kind of annoying if you have hundreds of mini discs. Then there is the problem that I'm kind of running out of space, which means I need more boxes. If I would have more mini discs, I would need more boxes and more cases to store my mini discs. And yeah, then even though I am pretty organized and I have kind of like a system how I organize my mini discs, there are still many times where I'm just searching for a mini disc and I just can't find it, and it's pretty darn annoying. And it's also annoying to always take out the boxes and search for the disc that you want, play the disc, put the boxes away, and once you are done playing with the disc, taking the boxes out, putting the disc back in, put the boxes away, it is kind of annoying. Then there is of course also the problem with the dirt, like I already showed you in my last video, and I have yet to find an easy solution for this problem. There is no easy way to really clean the mini disc on the inside, because there is some dirt that just is kind of stuck to the disc, and even things like the fiber brush don't really work that well. So that's also another problem. Then there's also the problem of limited recording time. I don't want to use high MD because it's too expensive and the recorders are too rare. And I also don't want to use LP2 or LP4 because that lowers the quality of the disc, the quality of the music. So I'm basically stuck with 74 minutes or 80 minutes of recording time. And because I'm listening to a lot of independent and underground music right now, I have a lot of music where you have songs that are 10, 15, 20, sometimes even 40 minutes long. And yeah, this means that you can only record 2 to 3 songs on one disc before it's full. And yes, it's still technically 80 minutes of music, but it's just 3 songs. And yeah, that's also kind of a little bit annoying. And then there's also a problem that usually I don't record entire albums unless it's maybe a soundtrack or I really like the entire album. But usually when it comes to artists, I'm creating my own best of albums, so to say. So I have best of albums of each artist, and sometimes there are 5 mini discs dedicated to one artist. And there are situations where I record something and then I run out of recording time, so I have to start a new mini disc, but then I only record 2 songs on this disc because those are the 2 last songs that I wanted to record. So yeah, how often do you listen to a mini disc that only has 10 minutes worth of music on it? Not that often, let me tell you that. Yeah, and then there is also the problem that it gets kind of expensive, because if I would buy more mini discs, that's a lot of money, even if mini discs are still pretty darn affordable. And yeah, I do have to say that I still believe that mini disc is the best physical home recording format that you can have in terms of quality, durability, convenience or comfort or whatever. Convenience? Yeah, it's very convenient. Price, availability, all those kinds of things. But I have so many audiobooks or radio plays that I still haven't recorded because I just don't have the right kind of mini discs. And when you have audiobooks or something, I mean, they are sometimes 12 to 13 hours in length. Yeah, it's just not going to work that well. Then there is also the thing that I love I love listening to my music over headphones. And even if I have 2 different mini disc decks, I can't really use them to listen to my music over headphones, because for whatever reason the headphone output of those Sony minidisc decks just sounds awful. It sounds absolutely terrible. I don't know if the same problem occurs on other minidisc decks from other manufacturers, because I never had anything else. I only had Sony minidisc decks. But yeah, they sound absolutely terrible. So I always need a portable mini disc player so that I can listen to my mini discs over headphones in a decent quality. which is also pretty darn annoying. Yeah, it's just, there are just so many problems that just make it more annoying than it should be. And yeah, I mean, I love having my music on a physical format, and I also thought about replacing minidisc with DOT. That would eliminate some of the problems. I mean, every DOT cassette looks basically the same, so I wouldn't have the problem of matching the look of the cassette with the music that I want to record. And depending on what kind of a cassette you use, you get more recording time. So instead of 80 minutes, maybe something like 120 minutes, which is still not that much, but it is an improvement. And it would have a better quality because it's lossless. And on some DOT recorders, you can even record in 46 kilohertz instead of just 44.1. But I would still have the problems that I would need a lot of cassettes. I would still have the problem to title the tracks. And as far as I know, I don't know if there are DOT DACs that have PS2 ports. I'm not really sure. And also the reliability or the durability of those tapes is nowhere near of the reliability or the durability of a minidisc, because, you know, a DOT recorder is kind of like a VCR, only smaller. So the components are a lot smaller, and therefore they are a lot more delicate. And, you know, if you compare DOT to analog cassettes or DCC, where you have a stationary tape head, well, on DOT you have a rapidly spinning tape head. There is a lot of wear on the tape. So that's not really the best option, even though it would be nice, but it's not really the best option. It wouldn't really eliminate all the problems. So yeah, that's basically where I am. And yeah, like I said, I don't know if it's going to be permanent. I will see how much I like not using minidisc, not handling a physical format, but as long as the whole setup isn't complete, I'm still using minidiscs a little bit. And yeah, we will see where things go from here. Okay, so this is the device that I got in order to replace, quote-unquote, replace my minidiscs with. It's the Yamaha Natural Sound Network Receiver RN402D. Yeah, it is probably a little bit overkill, because it also gives me the ability to listen to digital radio, and it has 4 different inputs, RCA inputs, as well as a digital optical line in and coax. And it also gives me the ability to stream music from various different streaming platforms. I can listen to music from a NAS, so network attached storage. But I basically just want to listen to music through the USB port from an external hard drive. Apparently the size of the hard drive doesn't really matter. I couldn't really find any information about it, but I wrote the people from Yamaha asking them about it, and they said, well, the size doesn't really matter. The only thing, it needs to be formatted in FAT16 or FAT32. It should contain absolutely no partitions. It can handle up to 8 subfolders or subdirectories, and yeah, each directory shouldn't contain more than 500 files. And yeah, it can play FLAC, 24-bit FLAC files. The gapless playback works perfectly fine. So yeah, all in all, it has everything that I want, and it does what I want, even though it's a little bit overkill. And yes, 360 euros isn't really that cheap, but it still is a lot cheaper to compared to some other devices. First, I wanted to get the SMSL DP3, but yeah, I think that the cheap looking LCD display wasn't really what I liked, and excuse me, it also had kind of very mixed reviews, and the gapless playback and all that kind of stuff didn't really work that well on this device. So yeah, that's what I got. The only problem with this thing is you can't create playlists with that thing, so you have to organize everything on the hard drive the way you want it to be. Yeah, that is going to be a lot of work, because it automatically organizes everything in alphabetical order. So if you want to listen to your music in a specific order, you have to use numbers in front of the tracks. But yeah, other than that, everything should work fine. For some reason, they also told me that I should only use a USB if it's an external hard drive, that it needs to be one that has its own power supply, even though it says right here on the USB port 5 volts and 1 ampere, which is basically exactly what an external 2.5-inch hard drive needs, because they don't really have their own power supply. So I don't know. We will see how much I like it, how long I will be using it. I hope that I will use it for a few decades. And yeah, that's basically it. Maybe I'm going to do a separate video about it, kind of like a review video. But yeah, that's it for now. So I hope you like this video. I hope you stay subscribed, even though I'm probably not going to make this many mini disc related videos in the future. We will see what happens. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and I see you in the next random video. Bye!